involved with the Scouts for many years across the way. And listen, that's time for us to give a seamless plug.
Oh, yes, it is.
See, I remember to do these things.
I keep forgetting, sorry.
You can actually, if you want, tour the iconic TT scoreboard with the Scouts. Guided tours by Scout leaders and Scouts who operate the boards. See the tear-offs, clock gantry, light box and a control tower, and learn the history and future of the scoreboard. And you can visit the control tower and take in the view from the top, which is good. Now, tours are running regularly on the race days, which is today. Special tours during racing are only £15, and all proceeds, all importantly, go to the Manx Scouts. Book at the Manx Scouts Grandstand shop or online manxscouts.eventbrite.com, okay, and you can tour it, which I think is quite a good idea, to be honest, because it is a great noise. You just hear this number 15 and the banging like that. It's really good. You cannot understand that. It's really good. It's really good. You ever done the Scout? Tony Duncan's done the Scouts board, haven't you?
Cubs and Scouts, yeah.
When
you get to the top, you know you've made it. When you're on that top ledge, when you're running up and down below hand,
when you're on that top ledge up, when you're handing the stuff down, how does it work then? Quickly, just quickly paint a picture in your mind's eye.
It's picking those boards up and then running down and putting them through the slots at the front, and then letting the guys put it up, and then
paint it.
Paint the numbers, paint the times.
Isn't that great? Isn't that
fantastic?
So quaint and so...
Because there's people saying, isn't it, oh, we need to go digital, but actually there's something so beautiful about that, the tradition of it, isn't there?
The thing is with digital stuff, though, eventually it will and can go wrong.
Yeah.
Backups are always a good option. Hence why stopwatches. The other day with Dean Harrison in the race, transponder fell off.
Yeah, of course.
So he had to be manually slotted in because he had no transponder. So this is why we have to have stopwatches still. This is why we do it, because you have to have backup. Timing guys in the timing hut, they have backup with stopwatches. It's all digital, but they have stopwatches as well. It's the way forward, isn't it? Questions?
Yeah, we've got lots of people listening on Facebook again. We're over on Facebook Live at Manx Radio TT. You can find us there. So Sue says, having just mentioned Shuey, Chris, do you recall the time he went through pit lane at a fair old rate of knots? Amazing TT memories.
Yeah, me and Charlie were doing the practice coverage then, and I tell you what, that could have been an absolute disaster. And unfortunately blinded by the sun, because the guys have had that problem throughout this week, and I'm sure Tony will allude to that. During practice week especially, the sun was really low going up towards Ballahutchin and other parts on that side of the island, and he was just, he said to me afterwards, God rest him, that he was just blinded by the sun and decided to go left instead of going right. It was a bit close. Yes.
There's been some interesting things in pit lane this week, though, hasn't there?
Oh, we've had all sorts so far this week. We've had near enough ding round 2 with a couple of riders, and that was quite interesting. I've never seen that, and do you know what? This year I have noticed in the pit lane it has been really close on a lot of occasions with riders, because obviously they want to get out, they want to get the job done, but the difference in between the top boys coming in for the pits and bang, gone, and the other guys just meandering in nice and gently. And the incident that happened was between Jonathan Perry and Xavi Denis, and hopefully we won't see anything like that again. But yesterday there was 2 riders who did actually touch wheels again. When you're a kid and you're riding behind your mate, you used to touch the wheel onto each other like that. It was one of those sort of moments, but nobody fell off, which was a good thing. I think it was Mick O'Sweeney might be involved in it. I don't know. He'd have been whinging and moaning if he fell off anyway. So, any more questions there, Chrissy? Quickly, then we'll
just do a quick hello. Don wants to say hello to Barney, who's been marshalling at the TT for many years. He's from Macclesfield in Cheshire. From all the lads at Macclesfield Sporting Rifle and Pistol Club, because it's so important, these guys, coming over, and they're from all over the world, and they sort of look forward to this, and they're crucial. We can't do the racing without the marshals, so thanks to all of them.
And they spend a lot of money to get here as well.
They do, yeah.
Let's look at Traveller Marshal quickly. Tony Duncan, Chief Traveller Marshal, and you've got a very, very nice Hellcrashment there. It is the RI, the 10th anniversary one.
It is the 10th anniversary. RI have been really kind to us over the years, and that's the 10th helmet they provided the TM team, so that's the latest helmet which a lot of the riders have been provided with as well, so it's a big thanks to those. The helmets that they've provided, no quibbles, they just turn up every year and are there ready to pick up. So it's fantastic.
Did they know your sizes, or is it
they
custom
do know
fit?
our sizes.
Custom fit
no, they do know our sizes. They're not custom fitted, they're just off the peg as such. But no, they're a perfect fit. They can, obviously the RI Village is there, so if there's any modifications need doing, but they fit so good, just out of the box, to be honest.
Same as is that an RX-7 GP, is it?
It is, yeah. It's the top of the range one. So
I've got
it's
one of those in white.
Really nice helmets. I mean, as well as RI for the TM team, RST give us a great help. They provide all the kit, the jackets, the levers, the boots, and obviously Honda provide the bikes. So without RST, Honda and RI, we wouldn't be going anywhere.
Speaking of RST, last night at the presentation, newcomer Davey Todd got the RST Star of the Future award, and that was great. He's got a full set of kit, etc., helmet, boots, gloves, the whole lot, and that's great. I mean, what have you been out on the course, Tony, watching? What have you made of him?
Really good. The few newcomers at the RA this year have been really, really good. Fast speeds, but they're very experienced anyways in Ireland, so coming over here to a lot bigger roads, it's quite easy for them because they're doing all the national stuff week in, week out, and they're on top of the game already before they come here, so they've got that step on everyone else, so really, really professional. They've got some good teams.
And he's a supermoto champion from a good supermoto rider.
He's smooth everywhere as well, it's really, really smooth, and I think he's listening to a lot of the right people, and
he's
that's
got
why
a great
his times
team,
are coming up.
Yeah,
and he's built on it. He's built on it from the start of the week. He hasn't scared himself. He's progressively built up, and the speeds are showing there.
Yeah, we've got a message in here. So this has come, I can't tell who this is from because part of it's missing, but thanks very much to whoever texted in, just to say one of my best memories of the TT, speaking of pit stops, was signalling for Bob Jackson at Ginger Hall when they did the 3 laps in the senior, doing only 1 pit stop. We knew of his cunning plan, but Joey's crew signalling from the same garden looked at us in amazement when Bob went straight through after 2 laps.
Yeah,
so
that's right, the bigger tank on, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Listen, that's a technical question I'd like to ask Dave Hagen, actually. I mean, there's obviously regs, and anybody can go and download the regs and read the regs for the Ironman TT races and what you can and what you can't do and the silhouettes of the bikes. I mean, can you still do that, make a bigger tank like they did in the old days, or does it have to be a certain size?
One of the things that's unique to the TT is when compared to other national championships or world championships using the similar class bikes is for many of the classes we allow a larger tank, but that is limited. So for super bikes, for instance, that's 24 litres maximum. The super stock is a different size, lightweights, and so on and so forth. So while we try and they're required to maintain as far as is practical the original silhouette, but they can increase the size of the tanks to their maximum size.
So 24. How do you guys in the technical area deal with the TT0 bikes? Is that a different kettle of fish altogether, or? So there's a curveball and a half, Dave.
Yeah,
good morning.
Very much. At the moment, there is changes afoot, shall we say, with regards to TT0 and how we deal with them, not just in technical inspection, but also in terms of parc ferme and what happens around the paddock. There was an incident during practice week, which I'm sure you're aware of. Basically just trying to learn some lessons from that and what we can do to improve everybody's lot for the future, really. Yeah,
it was a bit unlucky for the University of Bath team, but lucky in respects as to where they were parked, just slightly out of the way, because that could have been an absolute disaster. Quickly, got to speak to 1, 2, 3, 4 years here. I mean, the racing so far this year, all of you, is Lizzie up in race control. Do you have a little radio on up there? Do you know what's going on, or are you just concentrating on your job in hand? Do you know who's leading? And
we do sometimes keep an eye on the live timing, but I think yesterday's Super Sport race, I think it was half an hour after the podium, I actually asked who'd won the race because there's so much else going on out around that course. We do, if it's quiet, and that's how we like it up there, we will watch a bit at the live time, and but not very often, really.
Tony, are you aware what's happening on the race? Sometimes you're sat in pit lane with your fire brigade buddies, aren't you? So you can obviously hear what's going on.
Yeah, same as Lizzie, really. Depends what's going on around the course. Got a lot of radio messages, and there's a lot of times, we don't know who's won until get home or get back to the pits, or even get back home and see the results online and stuff like that. So
And Dave, do you see any of the racing or hear any of it? Or
I'm constantly during the course of the race, I'm constantly looking at the timing screens to see where essentially the sort of top 6 guys are, and keeping an eye on that. And I need to be prepared with the correct documentation for each machine on the things I'm going to be checking. So if I've got, let's say, 4 manufacturers in the top 6, I need to make sure I've got the right documentation for the parts I'm intending to check in post-technical, in post-race technical, ready for that. And I'm also looking at things like speed trap times and sector times.
Yeah, on the engines you've built. Would that be about right? Looking at any engines that you've maybe
built?
No,
not at all. No, I mean, quite the opposite is true. So I'm looking for anomalies, if you want, something that doesn't look right.
Yeah, like a super thing going through 180 mile an hour or something.
Yeah,
like
I mean, obviously we have each of the bikes that finish. Certainly finish in the top 3, and again we could choose a top 6, or more often another 3 at random, we'll dyno some bikes. So if it's something, not necessarily at the sharp end of the race, that looks a little bit, that really shouldn't be doing that, then I have the option to pull that bike at the end of the race and perhaps put it on a dyno, have a look, and if we're still looking at it and thinking, yeah, that looks a little bit better than it should be, then we can have a closer look if we desire.
Just quickly, for those who don't know, Dave obviously runs up your shop still in Ramsey. Eva Motor still going?
Yeah,
still busy?
Eva Motor down in Ramsey. It hasn't been the last 2 weeks because I've had to close it.
Have you really? Oh, okay, all right. But you do collect bikes in there as well. You've got a good scutch, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got a few old things kicking about. It's yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Bit of pension.
Bit of pension. That's what it's like. And we've got about a minute left. Dr. Gareth, I'll just ask you quickly that on. Are you aware of the situation of the race? Who's lap records? Who's where? Or
they can be highly contrasting. You can just get to the helicopter position and sit there and do nothing for the whole race,
which is what you want.
Which is absolutely perfect. And we follow the radio just as everyone else. And then there are days when you literally don't see a bike other than when you're on the track under waved yellows, and you literally come back 2 hours later and a bit like Liz, find out who was on the podium.
Listen, this morning been joined on the show by race organisation. We've got Dr. Gareth Davies, you just heard from them, Lizzie Kinvig up in the tower, Dave Hagen, the technical director. That's right that time, is it? Great. And Chief Travelling Marshal Tony Duncan. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in this morning. Been a bit of an insight into what you guys do, because obviously, a lot of people don't get to see what you guys do, and it is a bit of a magical box when it comes to putting all things together. Tomorrow morning on the show, I've got Dave Moore, I've got Tim Glover, and from Isle of Man Newspapers, I've got John Watterson coming in to have a bit of a chat. And John's been around the bike world quite a long time, because Dave Moore involved with the Green Light, and Tim Glover is news editor at Manx Radio.
Excellent.
I nearly said sport editor, then I'll be in trouble.
So don't forget, if you've missed any of these, you can go and watch them on the Manx Radio portal. So if you've missed any of this, go to the portal, you can watch it again. Good stuff. So there you go, you can watch how good you guys were. Guys, thank you very much for being my guest this morning, and Chrissy's guest as well. Enjoy the day, and let's have a safe day's racing tomorrow. We'll join John Moss now for the news at 9 o'clock.